wonderful set of experiences. Do you have any other thoughts about smoke jumping in your life, or?
Oh yeah, I think it was wonderful. I really liked it, and I think if I had a choice now, I would stay with smoke jumping and go into service. But how can you change something like that? Especially when it's a big thing like the Cuban Missile Crisis come along. You know, you get patriotic, and of course about that time the jump base closed down for the winter, and so I figured that was a good next step.
Yeah.
And it was, and in the Special Forces, most of my class died over there in Vietnam. Something like 95% of them were killed in Vietnam. So,
how many people do you think in that class?
we generally started. They generally started the class off about 250, and they would graduate between 30 and 35. So it was a sort of hard school to go through. Not too many made it.
Was that the medic class, or this just Special Forces in general?
No, just the medic class.
Yeah, and that many were killed.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
Thanks for your service.
Well, thank you. I took it you never got to a war zone.
Well, I was able to. I was at Fort Bragg too.
Yeah.
For 2 years during Vietnam, but no, I didn't get to have somebody try to kill me till just a while back. I was in the Pentagon on 9/11. It was just in front of that airplane when it stopped.
Oh.
So it took a while to get over that. It was kind of a big experience.
Yeah. Were you injured or anything in that?
No, lost a lot of parts of my uniform, and people thought I was killed for a while. But
Oh boy.
anyhow, it worked out.
Mm.
Anyhow, thank you for the interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, I pulled out some paperwork for you.
Oh, good.
I don't know where you need it at, or I'll just. Here's my D214. That tells you most of it.
Here, let me put this here so it'll be on the on.
Oh,
This
okay.
is John's DD-214, his discharge papers. Purple Heart, Vietnam Campaign Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, 2 Bronze Service Stars, a Bronze Star with V device, Combat Medical Badge, National Defense Service Medal, and a Sharpshooter Medal.
And the one thing wrong with that, I got a second Bronze Star that they did put down there, but that was for military service. But on your ribbons you don't know, because it's Bronze Star with V,
Yeah.
and then Oak Leaf Custer.
Yeah.
And so that was when I was there. We were building Kai, and after I did my regular work, then I started to build my dispensary, and I had my dispensary done pretty early in the camp, so I could start doing sick call and treat patients and so on and so forth. So that's why I got my second Bronze Star for.
Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I'm sort of proud of my one that with the V device that I earned. We were caught in a U-shaped ambush, and when they opened up fire, they wounded 9 soldiers, and the rest of them just pulled back out. And so I sort of stayed around, and I carried 8 of the 9 out of the ambush, but I couldn't get to the 9th one because it had 2 machine guns with sort of waiting for somebody to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, but I carried 8 of them out, and they survived.
And the 9th one didn't. Don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Not much as I do about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other things that weren't included in there was like the Vietnamese jump wings. And I also had the Ranger badge from the Vietnamese Ranger badge too.
Yeah.
So,
John, what you want to tell me about the time about the guy that kept hitting the telephone wire, the number 9 telephone wire?
he did that 2 years in a row, and
Is this out in Washington?
yeah, up in out in North Cascade.
Yeah.
And anyway, the first time he didn't see the wire or anything, and he just hit his feet and flipped him right over on his back.
He was coming down in a parachute?
And he landed on his back. But there was a log there. And it just broke his back, because, you know, there. And he did that 2 years in a row.
Hit the same wire?
No, in a different place. But you know, it tells you to keep your eye on your feet.
Yeah. So that wire was going up to a lookout? Or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Oh, when we put wires up on the lookout, it was sort of unusual. We only ran one wire up there, and then we put the other wire on the ground, and we used the ground for the second wire.
Uh-huh.
And over at Vietnam, that was sort of interesting because I would do that for the telephones, like to the motor places and the things. And I think that was the only thing that saved us from having bombs or whatever hooked up to 2 wires, because we finally got some lights to put on it was triangle shaped camp, and we had big lights on each corner, and then we ran the electricity from our generator out to the wires. And one morning I noticed the Claymores looked funny. They were turned around into the camp, and they were hooked up to the generator wires that went to the lights. And so I woke up the commo man, and I told him, don't start the generators. And then I woke up my team sergeant and started going, and we had about 15 of the Claymores that were turned around facing into the camp, hooked up to the wires there. And so we were able to follow that up. But I think that's the reason why they never did it to my telephone wire, because they only had one wire and they didn't know what to do with one wire.
But back at Winthrop, you had a jumper that kept running into the wire when he was parachuting.
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
And he kept on jumping. And I don't know, he was one of these jumpers that went 10, 15 years or something like that jumping.
Yeah.
But those 2 years, I bet it was hard to jump then.
Well, now, so you were reminded of something else that happened too.
Yeah. It was a fire in Lodgepole Pine.
In Washington?
Yes, up there. It was towards the Canadian border from where we were, and some smoke jumpers jumped on it the day before I did. Anyway, one of them landed in the fire.
Well, he was from Winthrop, or from?
I think he was from the Montana, from Missoula. And anyway, so he got off his parachute and ran through the fire out to non-burned area, which was good. And then I crowned over him again, and he did that again. And this time his boots were so hot, he took his boots off. And then crowned over him again, and so he had to run through there without his boots on. And about that time, the air jumpers got to him and was able to carry him to safety. And if I understand right, that he lived in like Minnesota or someplace like that, and he went up there and for more surgeries on his legs, and he lost both of his legs, and finally, he died from the injuries. but it took about 6 months or a year for it to happen.
Now, you jumped on that fire too?
Yes, and the next day I jumped on that fire, and it was mostly guys from Missoula, and there was 18 of us jumped on it, and we were, of course they told us that there was 2 hot shot crew going up one side, and we would go up one side too, and then we would beat them to the top, and so any fire before that, the most jumpers was on it was 4, and so, but with 18 you could really get a fire trail going, and it was interesting to see how a crew like that works, and some of the guys from Missoula already got going, and you would go up and like a chainsaw, you would use a chainsaw, like 15 minutes or half an hour or whatever, and then you would drop out, and the next guy would come up and use it, and kept on trading places like that, and then that guy would go down at the bottom and would finish scraping up the trail, and fire trail, and I thought that was real interesting, and I really enjoyed seeing that. And of course we got up there at the top before the other crews did, and we called in lunch for him, and did a little bit down the other side to help him out a little bit. and so these 75-man hotshot crews didn't like I did it. 18 of us did better, more than they did.
So what did you find when you went to where the guy jumped that got burned over?
Yeah.
What happened to him exactly? Did he land in the fire?